New year, new you? Not necessarily. Habits are going to be the things that stay with you regardless of flipping the calendar. But the good thing is this: it is really, really easy to make a fresh start. Recently, I heard a podcast talking that we as human beings like the idea of seeing our lives kind of like a novel. Look at a certain period of life and kind of bracket it off. So maybe if you lived in a certain place, you move somewhere else, it's kind of a fresh start. For someone who grew up moving around a lot, that was something that I felt like I was constantly going through. So I was constantly able to kind of bracket it off different phases of my life. What's really important is you can start and build new habits. These are some of the things that I think can help you feed those habits. And it really comes from a quote. My mom may have put a poster on the wall of this quote. The quote is, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, it becomes your destiny. If you think about that quote, there are three things that kind of feed into the habits. It's your thoughts, your words, and your actions. So we're going to break that down here on today's episode. Thoughts. What do you think about yourself? How do you see yourself as a person? How do you see yourself in relation to other players? Thoughts that can pull you down before you even get on the field. If you think that you're a worse off player than the players who you're playing against, it is really hard to overcome that. On the flip side of that, if your thoughts can buoy you up. So if you may be at the same level as everybody else, but your thoughts, you're constantly seeing opportunities all over the field. You're playing with confidence. You think well of yourself. You can play way better than somebody who has the same sort of ability. I want to be really concrete here because it's sometimes easy to kind of get lost in psychobabble. It's really easy to kind of see that. If I view myself as a forward, and I'm constantly looking for goals and I'm constantly hunting space, and I see that the space and opportunity is there because I have the confidence in my abilities, I will see those opportunities. Those opportunities will be there and I will be ready for that opportunity. Even if I miss 5 goals, that 6th one, I know if I get just an inch of space, I'm going to be able to put that ball away in the back. I've seen this with several of the players I worked with, but really the player who stood out to me was there's a player who she was extremely talented, had great ability. She actually would do some stuff on the field that would just make people look silly. But when it came to how she saw herself or saw opportunities, she was almost self-defeating in her thoughts. Obviously, I couldn't actually read her mind, but I could see with her actions, her words, she just didn't feel like there were opportunities for her to score. She oftentimes settled or kind of just drifted through games. And I think there were players on her team that ended up having better careers than she did because she kind of was constantly in her own head in the sense of how she thought about how she viewed herself. She didn't view herself as a player that was game changing and could really make things happen. Her thoughts defeated her. So players, if you're watching this, what do you find yourself thinking about? Do you have negative self-thoughts about yourself? Do you have these thoughts that come in your mind that kind of dominate you? I would say this: acknowledge them. Number one, you don't have to be superhuman. Not everybody's like Cristiano or Kobe or whoever who can never have self-doubt or self-thought, negative self-thoughts. But the good thing is you can't control negative thoughts popping into your head, but you decide whether or not it fits who you are. You decide what kind of gets through your mind and whether you're going to hold on to it, entertain it, or you're going to let it go. See it, acknowledge it, let it pass. Again, for parents who are watching this, I think it's really important that you can't control somebody's thoughts. You can't, you want the best for your players and you want to build up that strong mindset. I think the best way is to constantly be positively reinforcing it and encouraging the proper mindset. And again, it may just be something they say, something they do. That's something that you can acknowledge and encourage. You can also send articles, listen to podcasts, give books. You can do all sorts of things that kind of constantly is positively reinforcing those thoughts and really focusing on the proper mindset that they need. Number two, to what feeds habit is words. So again, your thoughts, they feed into your words. So what are you saying to yourself? Are you saying, oh, you're no good, man. You're not good enough to play here? What do you say to others? If you're saying, oh, I'm definitely not as good as you, or that's not fair that they're getting opportunity. Like, what do you say about others? What do you say about yourself? Again, what kind of words are you saying? And it's so crucial for you as a player to understand that your words have power. You may get frustrated. You may get angry. I'm not saying that you're not going to have these emotions and you're not going to be human. But I think it's really important that what you say, how you say it builds up other people. And even that's even more important about what you say to yourself. So if you're constantly telling yourself, oh, I'm not good enough, say, I can get better. I'm not good enough yet. And I would even put the yet on there. I would just go ahead, I'm going to get better. I'm going to improve. I'm going to make a plan to improve. If you're not as good as your teammates, then you can work on your technical ability. You can work even on your tactical skill, your decision making. You can work on all these different things, your physical stamina, all this different stuff. You can work on it. What you say though is going to end up feeding in to our next point, which are actions. It's really important for you as a player to be able to view yourself, watch film of yourself, because it's not only important for you to see the tactical side of the game, but also see how you're interacting. What is your body language on the field when you're on the sideline? Are you a player who's kind of checked out? Are you a player who's just kind of like angry and sulking? Or are you a player who's encouraging, that's staying invested and constantly trying to see what it is? One of the things I noticed, there was a teammate of mine recently, even when he wasn't playing, he was constantly talking and encouraging players on the field. He would pull people aside, he would get water for him, pull people aside and kind of say, hey, look at this. I saw that. If you make this run here, you're going to be able to get in. You're going to get in behind here, right? And that is so important. And that builds a camaraderie, and that people are saying, man, that guy's invested in my success. So he was a player who people were drawn to because he was constantly building other people up. And that's something that's so important. But that's beside of even your actions. The biggest thing is what are they doing, on the field? How do they respond to stuff? So your body language, when you make a mistake, are you one of these players who puts their head down? Are you a player who's like, okay, it moves on immediately to the next play, right? There's a famous clip of Michael Jordan. He goes up for a shot, makes a shot, and then he goes and he steals the inbound, makes the layup, and then immediately gets back in his position. And that shows that his mind is constantly moving on to the next thing. He's not celebrating him fitting the first shot. He's not even celebrating stealing the ball. He's scoring the next basket. He's not even celebrating that he just caused a 4 or 5 point swing. He is moving on to the next play. And I'm sure there's examples in all sports of players being able to move beyond what just immediately happened. And because they are so focused, Wayne Rooney, when he played for DC United, him sprinting all the way to half field on an open net. The other team had an open net. He literally sprints down the field, slide tackles, he turns, hits a beautiful ball, sets up his team. His teammate heads the ball in, and they end up winning the game. All because Wayne Rooney did not give up. What type of player? It's not just that he says the right things, his actions prove that. If you're a player, number one, emulate these successful high achievers, what they think, with what they say, and then what they do. And if you're a parent, talk to your players about, okay, what did you do in this situation here? There will be times that, hey, let's review your film, or hey, let's do this. and they can teach you, maybe if you don't know the specifics of the game, they can teach you what the game plan is, the tactical execution, but you can also help them with the psychosocial side of it. Like, look at this here. You made a mistake and then your head went down, and then they end up, going down the side. You didn't track back. You're playing in defense and your teammate made a bad play, and then you're yelling at them and you're not moving on to the next thing. And they end up getting an opportunity to score here. How is Get them thinking about this. I think this is such an underutilized part of being able to build good habits. Number one, look at your thoughts. Number two, look at your words. And number three, look at your actions, because all of these are going to feed successful habits into great players. So let me know what you think. Love hearing your guys' comments, responses. Hopefully you found this episode rewarding and enjoyable. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you again soon.